Hello, and welcome to the Sofa Talk podcast. I'm your co host, Aster.
And I'm your co-host Seven.
Let's talk it out and lounge it up. We appreciate you listening. This is episode 8, and the title of today's episode is Faces of Addiction. Today, we're going to talk about substance abuse in honor of Substance Abuse Awareness Month. Substance abuse hits close to home for some of us. Either we are battling substance abuse, in recovery, or recovered, or we personally know someone who uses substances or is in recovery or recovered. Welcome back. So, I'm going to start off the show, as we mentioned, in honor of Substance Abuse Awareness Month. Some of you all like to get the statistical information or fact finding. So, I have a little bit of data. I'm not going to be doing too much reading today, y'all. I'm just going to give y'all the numbers for y'all to get an idea of what's going on because this stuff is real serious and we need to talk about it. So, let me give you some information here. This information was provided from the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics. And the front page of drugabusestatistics.org features the most noteworthy drug abuse data, including overdose deaths, demographics, mental health, drug abuse treatment programs, and the cost of the war on drugs. So they found three key findings. Over half of people 12 and older have used illicit drugs at least once, and they have that as 51.2%. Drug overdoses have killed over 1 million people in the United States alone since 1999. They have that number at 1.15 million. The federal budget for drug control in 2024 was nearly 45 billion, and they have that number at 44.5 billion dollars. So, here are some statistics on substance abuse. Among Americans aged 12 years and older, 47.7 million were current illegal drug users, which means they used within the last 30 days as of 2023. 16.8% of Americans 12 and older have used drugs in the last month, a 1.9% increase year over year. 70.5 million, or 24.9% of people 12 and over, have used illegal drugs or misused prescription drugs within the last year. 145.1 million people aged 12 and over have illicitly used drugs in their lifetime. Usage among people aged 12 and over was up 0.3% year over year. 134.7 million Americans 12 and over have consumed alcohol in the past month. 28.9 million, or 21.5% of Americans who have consumed alcohol in the past month have an alcohol use disorder. 64.4 million people have used tobacco or nicotine vaping products within the past month. 38.6% of illegal drug users have a drug disorder. 21.6% of those with drug disorders have an opioid disorder. This includes prescription pain relievers or quote unquote painkillers and heroin. I'm gonna read this last part, y'all. So they broke it down also by the substance and the using or usage percentage. So for marijuana was the first one. Youth 12 through 17 was 11.2%. Adults 18 and over was 22.9%. For opioids, youth 12 through 17 was 2.2%. Adults 18 and over was 3.2%. Prescription pain medication, youth 12 through 17 was 2.2%. Adults 18 and over was 3.1%. Prescription stimulants, youth 12 through 17 was 0.9%. Adults 18 and over was 1.4%. LSD, youth 12 through 17 was 1.0%. Adults 18 and over was 11.6%. Cocaine, youth 12 through 17 was 0.2%. Adults 18 and over was 1.9%. Prescription sedatives, youth 12 through 17 was 0.3%. Adults 18 and over was 0.4%. Methamphetamines, youth 12 through 17 was 0.2%. Adults 18 and over was 1.0%. Heroin, youth 12 through 17 was 0.1%, and adults 18 and over was 2.4%. So this was given a comparison of, again, the substance and the usage percentage based on the youth and adults. And some of the numbers were very, very close to each other, um, based on the percentage. This information was from the substance usage rates per age group in 2023. So I'm so thankful for that information that we have there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And um, I also want to read to y'all in case some of y'all might be a little bit younger. Um, so substance abuse can involve both illegal and legal substances. The common substances abused include alcohol, prescription opioids, for example, oxycodone, fentanyl, stimulants like cocaine, methamphetamine, marijuana, and benzodiazepines. An example for that would be like Xanax or Valium. So I just want to give you all, in case you didn't know, especially the younger people that are listening that are 18 and over, what that means. So, okay. So I want to start off with that. And y'all know every time I talk about a personal story, when I hear something from somebody, I take it in and process this. So this hits to the topic that we're talking about. I remember when I was entering young adulthood, I was young. I had a coworker at that time. She might have been my age or a year or two older than me. And she was telling me about her uncle. It was her mother's brother who was on drugs. And I want to say he might have been on crack. What she mentioned to me, y'all, take what she said into consideration. She mentioned everybody's family has a crackhead or somebody on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So when she said that, I had to sit back and process that. Like, she's right. She is right. Everybody's family has somebody has a substance abuse disorder or on something. And I was like, that's true. Like, nobody's exempt. It doesn't matter your age, your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, your disability, your social status, what job you have, uh, you know, your education status.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's exempt
No.
from substances,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I took that in and I wanted to share that with y'all. I'm telling y'all, when y'all hear me talk, I'm going to be like quoting people because this has obviously sat with me all these years, and I felt it was appropriate for me to mention that to y'all. And I agree with what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's exempt.
Nope.
And it's real common.
Yeah, I don't know a family that doesn't have like some type of history of
Exactly.
some type of substance abuse.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Or
See.
some form of addiction. It may not
Exactly.
be drugs, but there's other addictions. But yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
See? Thank you. So that's what I wanted to share with y'all. And I love that. I still remember it to this day. Over 20 something years later. I still remember what she said. That was a long time ago. And I wanted to share that with y'all. And it's true. She spoke some real stuff right there. So I'm gonna be let's keep it real, y'all. We're gonna keep it real. Have I used substances before? Absolutely. Absolutely I have. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I have used marijuana before. I have had edibles. What else? I'm a social drinker, so I'll drink out in social settings. If I want to have a glass of wine at home, I can have it. If I wanted to drink and drive, which is allowed legally in the United States, as long as my blood alcohol concentration is 0.08%, I could drive my vehicle. If it doesn't go over that, that's okay for me to do that. If I'm out drinking in social settings and needing to drive behind the wheel, I know I have that option. Um, Here's something else I'm gonna mention too. Remember I mentioned earlier, I was prescribed prescription drugs. Y'all know I told y'all before, I suffer from generalized anxiety disorder. So there was a point in time where I was prescribed prescription drugs, which was depression medications and the classification for the benzodiazepines. I was prescribed those medications also, but I got off of it. And honestly, y'all, I think I need to get back on. I think I need to get back on it, prescription wise. But so I you could say I was a user. Did I abuse it? No. When I
Mm-mm.
did marijuana, it was fun. When I did edibles, it was fun. When I drink, I don't even drink like that. Like I said, social settings, or if I want to get a glass of wine to unwind, then I do it. But I'm not like a user, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm not addicted to it or anything like that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not, this is not to down anybody that, is on drugs or addicted. I'm just keeping it real. I've used it, you know what I'm saying? And still do with the drinking and stuff. So,
Yeah, I've had my fair share. I've tried a couple of things, but never uh, gotten addicted to anything.
hmm,
Like you, more of the drinking is more of a social thing.
yes, the social.
Um, Probably in like my late teens, early 20s,
Hmm,
getting drunk,
hmm,
just the
hmm.
party and
Living
stuff
life.
like that,
Hmm,
having fun and all that.
hmm,
But now as adult, it's more
yeah,
of just like a social thing, or like you
hmm,
said, if you social thing or a celebration or whatever,
hmm.
something like that, or maybe just a glass of wine to relax.
Yes.
But I've never gotten out of control with anything that I have
Hmm,
experimented with.
hmm.
Um, I just knew what road it would lead down to if I
Yes.
went, further and got hooked on something like that. But a lot of my participation was for fun.
Re-
It was for fun.
recreational, y'all.
Yeah,
We
it
did
was
it.
just for
Yeah,
fun. It
we did.
wasn't, a painkiller type of
Yes.
thing, or dealing with emotions, or so I used drugs and for to take away those feelings. It was I literally my experimental
Uh-huh.
days were just for
For
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 For fun. Same here. Same
Hmm.
here. And yeah, also, I'm gonna be real with y'all too. I'm actually kind of glad I didn't get addicted to it because
Me
it runs in
too.
my family.
Mine's
It's yours
too.
too, right?
Mine's
So
too.
I'm so glad that I'm able to break that curse and cycle with addiction, that I didn't get addicted to it. Because it's easy to get addicted to it.
I think that was the thing that kind of made us. I mean, you can easily fall into addiction, but I
Hmm.
think we kind of always kept that. If this goes too far, this is
Yes.
what can happen because we've
We
seen
seen
it.
it. Yep.
So I think that's why we kind of like trained ourselves. Like we knew certain things was
Uh-huh.
wrong, but it was like, I know I ain't gonna go that
Uh-huh.
far, or shit like that or whatever. But I think that's why I kind of, especially even like our little circle, our friends and
Yeah.
stuff like that, we all pretty much did a little something, but we had that. It was so close to home, and we
Yes.
saw addiction around us all
Yes.
the time.
Yes.
We knew
Yes.
this could be the outcome for us
Yes.
because we saw the good and the bad.
Yes.
So we knew not to allow it to take us far out there.
Far out there.
We knew that this was just for fun. We're young, we're
Hmm,
having a good time,
hmm.
and that was that.
And we also knew which drugs not to do
That
because
too.
of what we experienced with our
Oh yeah.
family members,
Oh
right?
yeah.
We knew
Yeah,
which ones not to do.
for sure.
I remember you and I had a conversation, if you don't mind me sharing this with
Hmm.
the sofa talkers or the listeners. When there's a crack addiction, that's a very common addiction, especially from people that were doing it back in the 70s, the 80s,
Hmm.
back in the day.
Hmm.
Um, I remember you were telling me that this was information was disclosed to you that when you have a crack addiction, when you take that first hit, that's the high they're trying to chase,
Yes.
right? That's the high they're
Hmm.
chasing when they had
That's
that first hit. That's
that's
why it
the how
becomes a
they're
high,
chasing every time they get high off of it.
and that's why it becomes such a severe addiction,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
Y'all hear that?
A lot of people, from what I've heard, a lot of people have said like that first hit, they just wanted it again and again, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why there was so many crack addicts, because once they got it
Got
that
that.
first time,
Yes.
that high just did something to
Whew.
them. I don't know too many people,
Mm-hmm.
even the people that have experimented, that said I smoked crack one time and then that was it.
Oh, they're
I
usually
don't
they're on it,
Yeah, I
right?
don't know
I,
anybody
I I
that's
never
really
heard of it.
said
I never
anything like
heard.
they tried it once and that was it for
No,
them.
I never heard of it.
Now
I,
other stuff,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Um, but that crack, I've never heard nobody
Uh
like
huh.
say like I took a hit one time and that was it for me.
Mm, mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm,
I've never.
mm-hmm. I never either.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, and it's a lifelong battle
It
with that addiction.
everyone that I
It
know,
everyone it is
years,
it takes
years,
that even we're gonna put decades on it, y'all.
absolutely.
Decades on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's bad. It's a bad and a hard, tough addiction to
Yeah.
get rid of or break. My goodness,
Mm-hmm.
my goodness on that.
I feel for those people. Me and my cousin, we were just talking this morning, and we were
Yeah.
just having a rant. I forgot how we got on the subject, and I was like, do people even still smoke crack? And he was like, you'd be surprised. I
Wow.
said, I'm sure
Wow.
it's a lot more cheaper compared to when it was in its
Back before,
prime,
yep.
but he was like, you'd be surprised the amount of people that still
They're
smoke
still
crack.
smoking it.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing this before. Like they said, like cocaine was like a luxury, like a luxury
It's the luxury
drug,
version of crack.
of
It
crack,
really is. It's just a luxury version.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
when you do it, whatever, however you do it or whatever, I guess money status or, like
Hmm.
the social settings or whatever, they put cocaine in a high
Hmm.
a pedestal.
I
I
had
think they do. They
I
do.
had my first experiment with cocaine. I want to say maybe like right after high school. It was like 18 or 19,
Uh-huh.
and I don't even know how I even got into it, but it was like I think we was at a party or something like
Mhm.
that, and everybody was like, "Oh, take a bump," and it just seemed like so like
Like,
the
it's like,
it thing, and
uh,
it was like
so.
I was scared because I'm
Mhm.
like I know
Yes,
how crack
yes,
is made, and
yes,
I
yes.
know how I you just know
Mhm.
So me being the one that seen it all kind of coming up, I was like,
Mhm.
nah, I'm good. I was scared,
Mhm.
but then kind of easily got influenced to it a little
Mhm.
bit. But I tell you what, when I did have that, and no, I'm so for talkers, I'm not on drugs. I don't have a drug addiction
Mhm.
problem. I don't do drugs now.
Mhm.
I'm speaking from when I was 18,
And
19
he
years
was
old.
younger.
And I'm 37 now.
Mhm.
But when I did have those experimental times with
Mhm.
cocaine,
Mhm.
it was fun. It was fun. It was fun. People weren't the everybody was just like dancing, drinking, laughing, having
Mhm.
fun. It
Mhm.
wasn't like paranoid,
Yeah,
shaking,
yeah, yeah. Yo,
sweating, looking
like how they
crazy.
make it on
How they make it look like,
yeah, on the movies and shows and
just
yeah.
like because people, people line crack and coke together and all that
Mhm.
stuff like this. I think people kind of, oh well, I only do coke or whatever
Yeah,
to take off the
yes,
crack because crack
yes.
just sounds so like low end, and
Yes, yes. It's
people
true.
are on the streets when they smoke crack. And
Yes,
I've
yes,
I've
yes.
I've grew up around so many high functioning crackheads. You wouldn't
Mhm,
even
mhm.
believe that they
Yeah,
smoke crack.
or and also too, I'm gonna add too, look like they're a quote unquote crackhead. They look, they.
No, I'm just saying, like
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen the
I've
the
seen.
good and the bad. I've seen
Mhm.
people that look like what we see on movies, and then I've seen people that
That
have their children, have nice homes,
yes.
go to work every day, have a car outside, handle their business,
Mhm.
and at nighttime when everybody lays down, they're
Mhm.
in their bathroom smoking
So
crack, and they're what you call those, like functioning
functioning,
addicts or
yep,
something like
functioning
that.
addicts.
I've seen the high end and the high end and the low end of that. But just my experience, I never smoked crack, but I tried coke several times, and it was fun.
It
It
was fun.
was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun.
And he didn't get addicted. He
I
just
did
he
not get
just
addicted.
experimented,
I
like he
experiment.
said. I also want to say too, with that being said, with a look, certain drug users. Let's keep this in mind too. There's not a look a drug user has.
Absolutely not.
There's not a. I'm going to keep this real. There's not a look that a drug user has, because you could look like the way you do, very handsome, and be on drugs.
I mean, how many times have you seen like people post like or say somebody got arrested for drugs, or
Yeah.
even a celebrity like they don't even look
Look
like
like
they do something like that. You know
exactly,
what I mean? It's like
exactly.
there's no look
There's
to
no
it.
look to it. So I'm glad
Hmm.
we reiterated that.
There's not.
I'm glad we said that.
Not every homeless person that's outside
Thank
is
you.
a
It's a
crackhead
crack.
or
It's
been
so
on drugs.
sad.
You know what I
It's
mean?
exact. Oh my gosh, it's
People
so
got to
sad.
stop that.
Yes, I'm glad we brought that up too.
Hmm.
Um, so the impact on families. We're gonna have open discussions here with our subtopics related to faces of addiction. Um, like I said, it hits close to home with me. What my father, he was a drug user.
Hmm.
I think before I was born. I'm 40 now, so that was probably
My
over
parents,
40
they started. It
years
was the
ago.
'80s. It
The
was the
80s, yep, the
'80s.
80s.
My mom said right after me, that's when she
Hmm.
tried it.
That's
Her
what she
cousin was like, "Oh, try
see,
this."
see how the
Yeah,
influence
only
is.
21.
Yep, so
Yeah.
so young, so young, so
Hmm.
young, so young.
But God is good because she's clean. She has, oh my God, I want to say 25 years clean. Her and my father.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Mine is still in recovery.
Hmm.
Let's hope that he continues to still be, in recovery.
Hmm.
There's always a chance, everybody. We know there's always a chance of relapse. Let's keep it real.
So many triggers.
There's so many triggers to
Hmm.
anybody relapse. And my dad was once clean before, but then he had ended up relapsing. Again, this was a couple
Hmm.
years ago. So even with any drug, there's always a possibility of relapsing. The
Hmm.
temptation, the desire sets in. If you have a setback,
Hmm.
you might want to feel like you need to get high to
Yeah.
suppress your pain and your emotions.
Hmm.
But like I said, it hits close to home, and I'm being transparent with y'all, with both SeVen and I.
Yeah.
Um,
Remember, I mentioned to you the other day when we were just kind of like talking about this and
mhm,
what we're going to talk about, and I said to you that I worry about people that are in recovery
mhm,
with the times, how times are hard right now and the things that's
mhm.
going on in the world. I said I worry
Oh my
about them the
gosh,
most
that's so true.
because it's,
Yes.
you know what I mean, because they're so
Mhm.
vulnerable, and I said
Mhm.
I worry about them the most because there's so much
Just
stuff that's
some.
going on, and
Yes,
they're
yes,
trying to stay on the, the right path, and
yes.
then like all these things is just hitting everybody at one
Everybody,
time,
all of us.
and
Mhm.
so the first thing, a lot of people, they'll run to a drug or alcohol or
There you
something like
go.
that because it's like avoidance. It kind of takes away of what's going
The
on,
reality of what's
the
going on, the
reality.
world that we're in
So
right
I
now.
really worry, and
Mhm.
I pray
That's
for
so
the people
true.
that are in recovery.
Mhm.
And I'll suggest you guys, keep your faith.
Mhm.
Y'all better than any situation that comes your
Mhm.
way. You're
Mhm.
strong. Y'all got this.
Mhm.
Keep pushing.
Mhm.
And I pray for you guys.
Mhm. All of us, myself
Yeah,
too, because
all of us.
because
Yeah,
we, you know, no, we could do it
all of
too.
us. Yeah,
We got so much going
anything,
on,
anything.
and
Yeah.
it's crazy the times that
Mhm.
we're in. So let's keep our heads up. Let's be strong. Let's be vocal. Let's talk
Mhm.
about our problems with people that we love, that we trust,
Yeah.
and that's all we could do. I always wonder, like, for real, everybody with recovery. I always feel that a person is going to be in recovery no matter how many years they recovered until the day they die. Because when you have an addiction, especially when you have it for so many years, I feel that, like I said earlier, there's a possibility to relapse. So I feel that anybody in recovery, you're going to be recovered or in recovery until you leave this earth. I'm keeping it real.
Absolutely.
I'm keeping it real.
Yeah. Yeah. And and I hate when people say this, but I've heard this thing before, like once an addict, always an addict.
Oh, see,
Have you heard that
no, I
before?
have never heard
I've
that.
heard that, and I hate that. I hate that whole entire
Wow.
comment. Yeah, once an addict, always an addict. I never liked that. I never liked that. Um
Because it's like speaking ill of the person, like there's no
yeah.
chance or no chance for change.
Yeah, there's no chance. And like to
Wow.
hear something like that, especially somebody that is in recovery,
Uh-huh.
and to hear something like that, that can play in their head. That's why I said, when you're
Wow.
in those types of states of
Wow.
mind, you have to be around the best of the best
Yes,
people,
yes.
because it can just be a small, simple comment. You can hear somebody make a joke or something on the radio,
Yeah.
something on
Oh,
the TV, or
that
just
too.
walking down the
Social
street,
media.
social
Mhm,
media,
that's a
and
big
hear,
thing.
somebody make a comment like that,
Mm.
and it can just throw you off because you're going to automatically lose
Mhm.
hope. You have to really build strength in your mind, in your soul, while you're in that recovery journey. You really do,
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
it's just the times, and people aren't. I don't want to say people aren't respectful, but people are just very vocal
Mhm.
these days, and people can say whatever they want to say, and you just don't know what a person is going
Going through.
through. You
And
know?
people like to make a joke of things too. If you know, especially with social
Yeah,
media, y'all know
yeah.
what it is. Y'all know what it is. Social media likes to make a joke of people
Oh
or out of
yeah,
things. And they tend to joke. I mean,
yeah,
they used celebrities back then that we knew that were on drugs.
yeah,
Whitney Houston, rest in peace to the late and
yeah.
great Whitney Houston, the icon, the legend.
Hmm.
They made a mockery of Whitney.
And I remember us being young, and we
Oh,
would see stuff,
and we
and
would
we would think and
laugh,
laugh and think it's
but
funny. But
it's fucked
as an
up.
adult,
Yes.
and I was an adult when she passed away, a young adult though. But when she passed, I was a young adult. I understood
Yes. Yes.
and had so much more respect and love for her,
Yes.
even more now than because now you understand, you get it,
Yes.
you
Because
see
we're
it, we
adults now.
get it, and
We're
we
living.
understand the pressures and
Yes.
everything of
Yes.
life that can cause a person to go off the wagon like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. She was often targeted a lot.
a lot.
A lot. Michael Jackson too.
All of them.
All of
Some of the
them.
greatest.
The greatest people. Rest in peace to them, Prince. Well, Prince really wasn't, but he was
Hmm.
kind of closeted with his stuff. But that's a good thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another story, y'all. I'm getting off
Yeah.
topic. I'm getting off topic, y'all. But it does. Drug abuse does obviously impact families. We know that, especially if you're married or in a relationship, it could break
Yeah.
It could break your relationship,
Mm-hmm.
divorce, or the relationship could end. The children, I think the children suffer the most outside of the spouse. I think the children suffer the most when there is a substance abuse
Absolutely. Especially
disorder
if
in the
you have
family.
if you're around people that are completely out of control, like I
Hmm.
said earlier when we was just talking about it, like, you have people that are functioning addicts where
Yes,
you would never really
you would never
know,
tell.
versus the ones where, and I hate we always go to crack all the time, but
Hmm.
we know
Hmm.
that's like the big thing that really crack and alcohol was really, and heroin.
Oh
I definitely
yes,
want to say
that
those were
one,
one of
that
the
one.
real big ones that
Hmm.
destroyed a lot of people and families and
Hmm.
stuff. Far as our generation, we
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
there's other drugs, but we know
Hmm.
those were like the big things that stood out the most.
Absolutely.
And you know, having to see that
Hmm.
drug dealers in and out the house, or your mom
Mm-mm-mm.
m- might be turning tricks for drugs or whatever,
Yes,
or your dad's
yes,
robbing or stealing, or
yes.
you seeing your parents and a group of friends sitting at the table,
Mhm,
doing whatever,
mhm.
you know. So
It's
kudos to the
sad.
parents that
It's
were
sad.
able to protect their children from their
Mhm,
addiction. And even the ones that weren't able to because they were so lost in their addiction, but they were
mhm.
able to get better, and
Yes, yes.
and fix the relationship and still be good parents to their children and all that. Because some there's children that I can say I was one of those kids that took notes coming up.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of paid
yes,
attention.
yes.
I remember always being told, stay out of grown folks, don't be,
Yeah,
and I was
business.
always excused
Yeah.
when grown folks were around
Yes,
in our
yes,
household.
yes.
You go back there, or you go with
You
the
see?
kids,
Yep, yep.
But I remember just taking notes, and you would hear adults talk, you hear certain things and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And I always would like, I don't do that, or I don't
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Or if
yeah.
you saw a person acting out, and somebody, oh, they're high or they're
Uh-huh,
drunk
uh-huh.
or something like that, I would be like, yeah, I don't, that's not what I want to be, or I don't
See.
want that. And I feel like I thank God for that, because I feel like that kind of trained me,
Uh-huh.
especially during difficult times of life when I
And
could have just like, you know what,
went to the drug,
fuck
right?
life,
Yep.
I'm gonna go get high, I'm
The
gonna go
yep.
do this, I'm
Yep.
gonna go do that.
Yep.
And drugs scared me. Drugs scared me a little
Mhm.
bit. I feel like the only reason why I did kind of experiment when I did, and guys, I jumped right into the cocaine thing. I did until I graduated from high school,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
that's when I had my encounter with marijuana, my
Yeah,
real,
yes,
real.
yes, yes. I
And I
remember.
I want to say I gave
Mhm.
it maybe a whole entire year
Mm.
until I got sick. I
Mhm,
got
mhm,
sick.
mhm,
And when I was smoking weed, it was literally for fun. It was
mhm,
cut rides, it was
mhm,
parties.
mhm,
We would get the munchies, go out, hang out.
mhm.
It was that type of
Chill, like.
thing. And I had a really, really bad experience that changed my life,
Mhm,
my whole entire life,
mhm,
one night.
mhm.
And so after that, that was it.
Yes.
That was it. I ended up in the hospital. I was
Mhm,
on medication.
mhm,
I had to seek therapy.
mhm, mhm.
And that's when I first got my first encounter, when I realized I had mental health.
Yeah, see, yep. We're gonna jump
So
into.
we'll
Yeah,
definitely go
we're gonna.
into
Yeah,
that.
that's
We're
yep.
definitely going to go
See,
into that. We'll dig a
yep.
little deeper into that,
We're
guys.
about to.
But
Yep. We're gonna be on
that's
that topic
just
soon.
how it started and
Mhm,
ended for me. So
mhm.
that's how I definitely know, like, the
Uh huh.
drug thing wasn't going to be in the cards for me.
Okay, so he knew. So just like I
Yeah,
mentioned earlier,
at a
it ran
young
in my
age.
family.
Yeah.
I knew it ran, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna break that cycle. I don't want to be on drugs. I already
Yep.
knew that. But I was gonna ask you because it says here parents. So I wonder. Okay, I'm gonna give an example with my paternal grandmother, my dad's mother. I remember one time I had made a comment to her because we have parents here and how that affects the parents. That might be like a letdown for the parents, especially if you
Absolutely.
thought you had your child on the right path. You
Hmm.
set the foundation for the child to grow up to be somebody, to be the best that they can be. And then they go down a path of ruin by doing drugs, right?
Yes.
So I remember one time I was going back to the store with my grandmother, my dad's mother. I said a comment to her, and I forgot what it was pertaining to. This was years ago, over 20 something years ago. I made a comment like, I will never do that. I don't know, was it about drugs or something like that? And then she scolded me. She pointed her finger at me and said, "Don't say never. You think I would want my son to turn out the way they did?" They were both on the drugs,
Hmm.
my father and my uncle. So remember, guys, when people talk, what do? I listen. I listen to what they say to process that.
Hmm.
She was venting to me in other words, and I was young at that
Hmm.
time. That obviously bothered her with her sons turning out on drugs when she didn't see them going down that path because how the way they were raised, a 2-parent household, had everything at the palm of their hands,
Bright
guidance, a
futures.
bright
Yeah.
future.
Hmm.
Then they went down to a path
I had
of
I had
self-destruction.
experienced something similar to that, and I had a good friend of mine. We're still actually best friends today,
Mm-hmm.
and I was upset when she did this, but
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was kind of messy. But then I also kind of, now how I look at it was like, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
see where she was coming from. But I was
Mm-hmm.
upset when she did it. But when I had shared with her about me experimenting with cocaine, she went back and told my mother.
Oh, mm-hmm.
She went back
Mm-hmm.
and told my
Mm-hmm.
mom. She was
Mm-hmm.
not too happy about that. She
Mm-hmm.
went back and told my mom. And I never forget it. I was at work and my mother pulled up at my job
Mm-hmm.
and she was livid. She was upset. She was hurt because she was like, you saw what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, my parents weren't the parents that were
Uh-huh.
out loud. I
Yes,
knew what
yes.
was going on, but for me, I
Uh-huh.
had a good upbringing.
Yes.
So I knew they did something at nighttime,
Yeah.
but during the day, it was like
Like a normal.
normal
Yeah, yes,
lifestyle. You know
yes,
what I mean?
yes.
So when I got old enough and realized my parents were very open and we
Mm-hmm.
discussed and we talked about this, my mom was upset because you saw what I went through,
See?
been
You
through,
see?
and you know better.
Mm-hmm.
You know where that road can take you to. And
Mm-hmm.
she was hurt. She was livid. I mean, I was at my job,
Yeah.
outside at my job, and she pulled up and was not happy at all. Um, and I was mad, and I lied and denied it or whatever. But I
Yeah.
was so upset with my friend because, and then the other friends like, why would she do that? Why would she do that? But looking at it now,
Mhm.
it makes a lot of
You
sense.
think it was more so protection?
A little at the time, I thought it was jealousy.
Okay.
Because it was like,
Okay.
oh, hanging out with different friends, and we having
Oh,
fun. So it's kind of
oh,
like, am I
okay.
losing my friend or
Uh-huh,
whatever?
uh-huh,
So that's
uh-huh,
how I was looking
uh-huh.
at it. But now I can look at it as like, it was definitely like, concern and protection, all that. Because once again, a lot
Uh-huh.
of us had and knew what went on in our
That's
families.
right.
So any of our friends were kind of like, might be heading down that path. It
Uh-huh.
was kind of like a little scary.
Yes.
Yeah. And so now I definitely looked at it like, yeah, she was definitely
Pro-
concerned and upset about that
Okay, it was genuine,
because
right?
we partied together.
Yes.
We drank and smoked weed together,
Uh-huh.
but we never did anything harder
Like
than that
what you was
that
doing.
I was doing. Yeah,
Okay.
we was
Okay.
just teeny boppers. Well, we were 18, 19, 20 at the time, so we were just weed and drinking, underage drinking, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So she was
We don't
very
recommend
upset.
that though,
No,
y'all.
we don't. No, no, no,
But yeah,
no, no,
but this is
no.
we're being
We're not
real.
promoting
Yep,
underage
yep.
drinking
We're,
and drugging.
yep.
No, not at all.
But we're keeping it real. We're
Yeah,
not. Yeah, we're
this is
keeping it
just
real.
our
This is
self
our our natural
experiences.
selves. Yep. We're giving it to y'all. Becoming live and in color for
Yeah.
y'all. Um. So I would also say too, when you're on drugs, because your mind is at an altered state, you're at risk for making irrational decisions, which
Mm-hmm.
can affect your family, your loved ones, your parents, your partner, your kids. Well, they're all loved ones. And you're at risk also for incarceration because you might
Absolutely.
make decisions again
Mm-hmm.
that might lead you to get arrested and possibly do prison or jail time.
Yep.
I'm gonna keep it real. And again, that impacts even your friends, your loved ones could be your friends. That impacts everybody,
Mm-hmm.
everybody, because now you're gone. A
Mm-hmm.
piece of you is missing,
Mm-hmm.
and then people have to cope without you not being here with us,
Mm-hmm.
or it could even lead to death. Let's say
That
that
too.
untimely death.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we have to cope and grieve your loss, whether you're incarcerated or if you are dead as a
Yeah.
result of substance abuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
so we're gonna keep it real on that. The importance of family support in the recovery process. I say with that, I think the family should be very understanding. Don't point a finger. Don't point a finger at a lot of times in life what we tend to do outside of substance abuse, we tend to attack the closest people to us,
To us. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't attack the closest people to you. And I would say when you don't blame people, that's another thing too. People
Mm-hmm.
blame people for why they do
Do
the
drugs.
drugs.
Yeah.
Kind of own up to that,
Own
right?
it. Yep.
Have some ownership to that.
Mm-hmm.
Own up to you doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, unless somebody put a gun to your head and make you do it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's your choice in the end.
Absolutely.
Am I right? Am I making
Yeah.
sense? Right?
And I personally feel like that that right there is like a 50-50 type of thing.
Okay.
Because if you have um if your family has been triggers and might be the reason why you ended up on drugs and all
Yes.
that stuff like that, those may not be the people that you want to deal with during your recovery. Those may have to be the people that you have to space yourself away from while you're recovering. Because yes, we know family support is very important.
Okay.
You know what I
Keep
mean?
it going.
But if your family is the reason why, like say you get what
Oh.
I'm saying, like saying if
Go
you've
ahead.
been
Say it.
abused,
Uh-huh.
molested,
Uh-huh.
or just bad things,
Uh-huh.
or mistreated, or your parents left you, or
Uh-huh.
something like that,
Uh-huh.
abandonment,
Abandonment. Yep.
all those types of things like that, and because of that, it led you down the path for
Got
drugs.
it.
Because we
I
hear
like that
those
you said
stories.
that.
It's really, really common. Like
Yes.
that's how I ended up on because that was my
Yes.
coping.
Yes.
Because a lot of people
Trauma.
didn't know about therapy. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
didn't know about medication.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have been
Oh, this is good.
self-medicating since they were teenagers or
I know.
smaller, young kids. You know what I
The
mean?
statistics said it all that we read earlier. That
Yeah,
these kids are young kids that are already starting out doing it.
and
Thank
to
you.
a lot of households,
Go
and I'm going
ahead.
to speak from my culture,
Mhm.
which is the
The
Black African
black.
American
Yep.
culture.
Keep it real.
Depression,
Thank
anxiety
you.
was not allowed in our households.
Thank you.
We didn't
Thank
believe
you.
in none of that
Thank
because
you.
it was a sign of
Weakness.
weakness, that medication don't
Work.
work,
You don't talk your
or
business to people,
you
to
don't tell our
therapy,
business to
or
people.
to
What
other
happens
people,
in our house
outsiders.
stays
Stays
in
in the
our
house.
house.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's why a lot also addictions
There you go.
started out early
There
too,
you go.
because there was always somebody else that was in the same predicament
Mm-hmm.
as you,
Mm-hmm.
and then y'all had that type of bondage. Y'all bonded over that.
Uh-huh.
It's what is it called? Trauma
Trauma
bonding.
bonding.
And was like, yo, I've been through that too. That happened to me, or my parents
Mm-hmm.
did this. But ever since I've been getting high, man, I'm just able, I'm able to move forward. I'm good.
Yeah.
And those types of things kind of start to play, and then that's how it. Because once you get that high and you start to feel better, and then you able to block those feelings or those
Yes.
pains
Yes.
that are in you or those thoughts,
Yes.
um, that's how the addiction becomes on, and then it keeps going and
Yes.
going and going. So I personally feel when it comes to fail,
Go
it's
ahead.
I
This
feel
is
like
good.
it's
This is
all
good.
about who you want the support
From.
from.
Okay.
Yeah,
Keep
during
okay.
those, and during, because I'm anytime I've been through anything in life and I needed support, there was only select people, and it always wasn't my family.
What listen. Okay.
A lot of my support came from people that weren't even blood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So do you think so back to that question or this subtopic here. So the importance of family support. It sounds like family may not be supportive.
That's why I said
So
it's
it's
50
50-50. So
50.
there's a chance that
Because there
this is
because
hard.
there
This is
could have been
hard.
people that just went down the wrong path just because that's their choice,
Yes.
right? And then you have other people that ended up on that path because something happened to them, and a
Or
lot
it
of
was
times,
within the family
or it
too.
was within the family. So that's why I said it's 50 50. So I feel like when it comes to that support, it's all about who you want the support from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, it's 50 50.
So now you got me thinking. Now is family even supportive? That's what I'm starting to think.
Yeah, I would
You,
say so.
you,
It,
you
it
think?
depends on it. It's a case by case situation when it
Uh
comes
huh.
to that. So I think it honestly really, really depends. It
Okay.
depends on the family dynamic. It depends on the person that's in recovery. Because once you're in recovery, it's like therapy. You're starting. You have to go all the way to the beginning, all
Mm-hmm.
the way till now.
Yes.
So you have to deal
That's
with all
true.
of
That's
that. So
true.
it all depends on your story pretty much, and what led you and got you here.
Uh
So
huh.
if the family wasn't a problem, say the parents were like, there's people that could say, I had excellent parents. This was just
Mm-hmm.
me. Or this
Mm-hmm.
never happened. My parents gave me the world. They were there. They were supportive. They was
Mm-hmm.
emotionally. They were physically. They were,
Financially, even
financially,
financially too.
spiritually. I
Mm-hmm.
had all that. This was just me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on the situation. So some people may want it. Some people may not. In my case, and I'm speaking for myself, um, the people that aren't actually they became my family because
Mm-hmm.
that's what we
Mm-hmm.
created.
Mm-hmm.
But those people
Mm-hmm.
know me more than my own
Oh,
blood.
got it.
So those, if I was in a
Uh
situation
huh.
like this, say if I was in a crisis, right,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I had to go in the hospital psych ward or something
Mm-hmm.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
those are the people that would know what happened, what got here.
Got it.
Those are going to be the people that if my therapist said, "Well, do you want to have an intervention?" Those are the people be there because they know me the best. And personally, in my case, those are the ones that will root for me the
The
the most.
most.
I don't think they will put me down.
Okay,
I
okay,
don't
okay,
think they will
okay, okay,
bash me or
okay,
talk about
okay,
me.
okay. I see where
So
you're going.
what
Mhm,
I'm saying to say
mhm,
this, that I will be selective, but would it be my family that will be there if I was in recovery or
mhm.
was in a situation where I needed that support? Possibly not.
Possibly not. Okay, he's keeping it real. Seven's keeping it real, y'all. He's keeping it real. He's a good topic. Damn good topic, y'all.
And I say that
He's keeping it
I
real.
say this so photographers
Mm,
because
mm, mm, mm.
during any time when I was in any situation, those people
Mm-hmm.
or my village,
Yes.
I feel like they know me the most. I shared the most with them.
Yes.
Um, they may even know more about me than my own fiance or my own parents.
Yes. Yes.
Um, because some after you're an adult, your parents only really know
What
who
you
you
tell?
were
Uh-huh.
as their
A
child
child.
coming up, but
Uh-huh.
after you left home
Uh-huh.
or after you get, they don't we don't share all
Yeah,
that.
because you're not in the same household
So
anymore.
it's different. So
Yes.
a lot of times it's different from them to understand, and that's a problem. A lot of people don't understand where you are in life.
Yep.
It's the people that you share that with.
Yes.
So in that case, if I did ended up in rehab or some awful situation that would happen, um, those are people be there. I remember you said, we're a trio. There's Aster's sister. It's
Yes.
three of us, and we're best friends. We're
Yes.
going on our 30 years. Next year will be 30 years
Yes.
we've been best friends. And the other sister, she even
Mm-hmm.
spoke up before and said that if something was to go on with me,
Mm-hmm.
she would be able to answer a lot of
Yes, she
questions that
would.
a lot of other people wouldn't be able to
Yep,
answer.
she said it. And probably even before me, because she was there
Yeah,
before me.
yeah,
She knows him well. So
very, very
she did
well.
mention that. That's
Yeah.
true. Very true.
And see, I would say in her case, she knows me back then, and Aster knows who I am now. So
Okay.
it will all be able
To
to
kind of go,
come
yeah, that's
together,
okay. That's a
and
good point.
it would
That's a good
make a
point.
lot of
Sense.
sense.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Good point. I like that. Okay, this is good, y'all. This is a good
Yeah.
topic, y'all.
Hmm.
Um, so, so what I would just say in advise for my personal beliefs with family in helping in the recovery process or supporting a loved one during this process, I would say don't place the blame game on nobody.
Mm-mm.
Just be there. Like I
Take
said,
accountability.
just yep,
Take
just be there.
accountability.
Take accountability. If you're the user and if you're the family member, just be there to support. It's
Hmm.
not your fault, or just see kind of why, where, what happened, what could you do to help the person
But
reach recovery
what I will say,
or
anybody
during the
that has
process.
made calls this,
No,
and it may
no,
not
that's
be,
true. That's
like I
true.
said, it could also be you.
Uh-huh.
But anybody that has caused you to end up on this road, I don't
Block
know
him.
if those are the people that you
I agree with you.
want to be around
That's
in
thank you
that
for that.
vulnerable state that you are in, because you are very, very vulnerable, especially when you first in recovery. Very,
That
very
is true. That
sensitive.
is
So
yeah,
be
that is
very, very
true.
selective of the people that you want help and support from, because the ones that sometimes that we think that we want aren't the ones that are really good for us. So you really have to make sure, and you have to make sure that they're in their best
Uh-huh.
place mentally and emotionally
True,
also
true,
too,
true,
and
true,
spiritually also
true.
too, because they could be going through something in their life,
Uh-huh.
and they can take those types of things out on you while you're in a vulnerable place.
Uh-huh.
So you have to be very, very selective when you're in that state who you want to be
Excuse
around.
me.
And I think that's why it's so good people do go off to rehabs and leave home or go to certain retreats and
Mm,
stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
because there's
Excuse
nobody
me.
that knows you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And these people, they come to you and help you believe in yourself,
Uh-huh.
instead of other people that may know you to help you realize who you are.
Uh-huh.
They
Uh-huh.
want you
Uh-huh.
to realize who you are
Okay.
and where you're going in life. So I think that it's always good to kind of not always kind of have that all together like that. Sometimes you have to really step away, especially from your comfort zone
Okay.
and those people that you are close to. My case, I would want those selected people that I'm close to that
Yes.
aren't family. Like, well, we are family, but they're not my blood,
Yeah, yeah,
as far
yeah,
as my
yeah,
parents or
yeah.
something like that, or aunts and uncles. No, I don't think I would want them there. I
Okay.
would want the people that I choose to be there, and that
Uh-huh.
the people that don't know me, that I know that's going to help me rise out of this.
Okay. I will say too, a lot of times, like I mentioned earlier, the parents are going to always say, what did I do wrong or where did I go wrong at?
And you know
Let's
what?
keep it real.
You know what?
That's the first thing they're gonna say.
They're gonna say
Let's
that,
say
and
that.
that's the last.
Mm-hmm.
And I've
That,
heard that coming up as
uh-huh.
a child and adult. Well, what did you know?
It hits
And
them too.
honestly, it's not about you. And that's what a lot of people have to start
Mm-hmm.
telling
Mm-hmm.
family and parents, or
Mm-hmm.
whoever that's around at the time when you're dealing with this type of stuff. It's not about you, because they
I
automatically
like that. I
take
like
it
how you
about
said
them.
that.
I'm the one that's going through
Okay,
this.
I like that. I like that.
You
I
might
like
be
that.
going through it because you love me, and so you see how I'm
Uh-huh.
self-destructing when I'm going through and it's
Uh-huh.
hurting you.
Uh-huh.
But honestly, it's not about you. You
Listen,
know, a guilty
listen, y'all.
person's always going to holler, and I believe
Mm,
that.
mm, mm.
I believe that.
Whew. Who's getting hot in here? This topic, y'all. This topic is hitting. I'm telling y'all, this might be one of our best topics. Never, I take that back. All of our episodes are good topics. But we're talking some real stuff here. So remember before, can I move on? You mind if I move
Yeah,
on?
go ahead. Yeah,
Okay,
we
I just
good.
want to
Go
make sure I'm
ahead.
not going to cut you off and be rude.
Yep, we good.
So I remember before I had asked this question. This is about mental health and drug use. Does the drug use bring out the mental health, or does the mental health bring out the drug use or
Let's
substance
go there.
abuse?
Let's go
This is
there.
hard, y'all.
Let's go there.
This is hard.
So if you guys go back to what I was saying earlier, when I said earlier that after that whole year of experiment, I ended up in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
That's when mental health hit me. I never had no experience with mental health. I didn't know. I remember, and now as an adult, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I was a little sad back then, or that really
Mm-hmm,
did bother me
mm-hmm,
back then.
mm-hmm.
But far as I was concerned at that time when it hit me, I thought I was going crazy, because I'm like, how the hell did I get here? As far as I'm concerned, I had a good upbringing.
Yes.
Life was good.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And all of that. And I was managing and navigating my young adult life and doing what I had to do. Where the hell did this come from? I literally thought I was crazy when that shit happened to me. And
Was that because of the
because of the
so the
drugs.
drugs brought the mental health?
Yes, I had.
Oh,
We
okay,
call it
I
lunch
got something to
out.
say after that. Go
You
ahead.
guys,
Go
we
ahead.
call it lunch
Go ahead.
out or whatever.
Yes.
Most people, they'd be like, I lunched out, and then I was good. Guys, I didn't come back for a while
Mm-hmm.
after I lunched
Mm-hmm.
out.
Mm-hmm.
When I say
I'm
I
glad he came
lunched
back though.
out,
Mm-hmm.
I lunched out,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
led me into a hospital and
Mm-hmm.
at the
Mm-hmm.
psych ward. No, I didn't want to hurt myself or anything like
No,
that.
not suicidal or nothing.
Not
No.
suicidal.
Uh-huh.
I felt like I had lost my mind. Every
Mm-hmm.
bit of ounce of me was gone. And oh, guys, it was a road, it was a road, it was a
Road to
road.
recovery.
But
Mm-hmm.
what I will say is I was probably the first out of my circle of
Mm-hmm.
friends to really experience this.
Mm-hmm.
And as time went on, they started to have these, and it wasn't, they may not have been led by drugs or anything.
Yeah,
This could have
yeah.
just been life things
Yes,
happening. Like,
yes.
yeah, so you felt like this? I'm like, yeah, that's what I went. Oh, okay. So it started to make sense. And then
Uh-huh.
it started to become like a normacy that this is something we're gonna have these certain encounters
Yeah,
in
yeah,
life.
yes, yes.
I'm kind of glad that it hit
Mm-hmm.
me at the young age instead of where I am now, because now I know how to deal with mental health,
Yes.
because I already had my first experience with it at a young age, and I was
Yes.
able to navigate and move forward in my life. And it didn't, if anything, it helped me. I was able to process, I was able
Mm-hmm.
to think, able to take my time, take care of myself,
Mm-hmm.
tap into myself.
Yes.
But it took time. When it first happened, guys, it took a couple months. I mean, therapy, medication,
Yes.
I
Yes.
isolated. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I went through it, but my village, and they're still my village today.
That's right.
If it wasn't for them and God, I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have been able to survive
Mm-hmm.
my encounter with mental health. And to say that, I'm just going back to saying that me experimenting with marijuana, different grades, high grades or whatever, because
Yeah.
it wasn't cocaine, guys.
Yeah.
It wasn't
No,
cocaine.
no.
I wasn't even doing cocaine at the time.
Nope.
This was marijuana that did
Simple
this to me.
marijuana, y'all.
Simple
Simple
marijuana.
marijuana.
Simple marijuana that did this
Mm-hmm.
to me. And so that was it. It was 2006, early 2006. I just turned 19.
So young.
No, I wasn't even 19 yet, you guys. because I had turned 18 that December of '05. So I was freshly 18 years old
Oh
when I
dear. Like
experienced that, and it was scary. 18 years old.
like you're just entering that adulthood.
I
Yep.
just entered.
Entered
I was only three
adulthood.
months in to 18, and this happened.
And you said that's because of the drug. The drug
It
use
was
brought up
because
the
of the
mental.
drug.
It's
I wasn't going through anything to make me feel like I was crazy or lost my mind. I mean, guys, panic attacks where it felt like after this happened and after the hospital visit and medication and treatment, all that stuff like that, guys. I mean, I could be in the car and it would feel like the car was
like
closing
closing
in
in,
to a
yes.
small
Mm.
little circle,
What you're
and
not
I
gonna
couldn't
have.
breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Going in certain
Whew.
areas would give me a panic attack,
Yes.
anxiety attack. I would have to
Yes.
take Ativan,
Yes.
pop
Yeah.
an Ativan, and to be
But
calm.
those were
And
prescribed though.
those were
Mm-hmm.
my personal prescriptions from my
From the
doctor.
doctors. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, guys, it was a rough year that year, but I got through it. And then after that, I honestly can say I have been able. So you were saying 18 years old, I'm 37. That was almost 20 years ago. I'm still here.
Yes.
I know how to navigate my mental health and
Mm-hmm.
all of that, and I'm here. I'm blessed. um I worked in mental health over the
Yes. That's
years.
yep. If y'all listen
That
to
helped, and I
previous
was very
episodes.
successful
Mm-hmm.
in that field because of my own personal experience. I was able to
Like relate.
relate and
See.
understand, and yeah. So but that's what happened, how I drugs affected my mental health. That's how I had my first encounter when I started experiencing mental
Mental
health,
health.
was because of drugs.
Well, I'm gonna say something on that. So somebody I know that was a drug user mentioned that it was years later they found out they had mental, and it was a couple, not one, some mental disorders, which led them to do so. It's opposite of your,
Yeah.
but I'm glad we're able to have
Mm-hmm.
two different viewpoints here,
Yeah.
which made them do the drugs because the drugs were suppression. It was acting as a form of medication.
Yes.
So you see that situation with the person,
Mm-hmm.
they were diagnosed with mental disorders
Mm-hmm.
years later, and it was a result of them doing not so okay, y'all, I'm making this a little confusing. Sorry. So the mental disorder this person had, and it was a couple of them disorders, caused them to do drugs, not the opposite of SeVen, what SeVen disclosed.
Yes.
So yeah, so the yeah,
So
so
that kind of goes back to what I was saying. And remember when I was saying that's kind of 50-50, because
uh-huh.
with that whole situation right there, and say a person like that will go into treatment, they wouldn't have to
Mm-hmm.
point the finger at anybody. So they would be probably more open to having family support because it was
It's a
their
mental
mental
health.
health. But we don't know what triggered their mental health. Like, once again, we
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
Exactly.
But in a situation like that, it's like a 50-50 type
Yes.
of thing. Like, I had my own experiences going on. It was nobody else's fault,
Yes.
you know. But then it kind of goes back to, once again, depending on your culture, depending on your family dynamic and all that stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
because people weren't allowed to talk and
There you
express mental
go.
health. That person that you may have had that encounter with,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably what led to that, because they were thinking like, well, damn, I can't talk to nobody about this.
Exactly.
I can't,
Exactly. Well, I'm
if I
feeling
say
this
this, I'm
way.
crazy or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get high, this is
This
normal,
is
this is
yep,
fixing it,
yep.
I'm
I'm gonna
good,
yep,
I'm able to
yep.
function.
I'm gonna
This
suppress
mental health shit,
suppress what's yep,
I'm
suppress it.
suppressing it.
Yep,
Yeah.
suppress it. So
Hmm.
you see there we had two different uh we had to bring it up. So I guess it works like you said, 50-50, right? On both ends.
50-50.
We say it's both ends. Um Trauma definitely can contribute to, we mentioned a couple of the other things before, but definitely trauma can contribute to addiction because again, we mentioned again, they're suppressing their past pain, their past hurt,
Yep.
and experiences that they went through that they can't get over. So
Hmm.
they end up turning to substances to help them feel better.
And it's I know a lot of us, I don't I, a lot of people, I can't even
Mm-hmm.
say a percentage, but I know a lot of people that trauma bond because it gives you
Mm-hmm.
some type of comfort
Mm-hmm.
during
Mm-hmm.
that trauma.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why when you realize that you have a problem, people, that's when you really do need to go talk to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
because that trauma bonding can lead you down a darker road.
And what if there's two drug addicts or two substance abuse users doing the same drug? You're not gonna ever come out.
No,
Because
it's
remember, when you do drugs, you're doing it with a group of people.
somebody has to get
Or
somebody
so,
has to get the help first.
yep.
Somebody
Good
has
point.
to
I'm so
step
glad we
away
brought
and
that
get it
up.
first, especially in a relationship.
Mm.
In a
Oh,
relationship,
don't.
somebody has to do it first because both of us so comfortable and we're enjoying this moment or whatever. Somebody's gonna have to break it. Somebody's gonna have to break it. And I remember my mom said, she said when she had enough, and then that's when my dad said, that's it.
Oh,
When she said it first, he was like, all right,
so he
you want to
follows
do this?
suit.
And then he followed.
Wow.
And that's how
That
they
takes a
did it.
lot. Yeah.
That's how they did. They went cold. They went to church. They cut off all ties with the people that they used to deal with, or whatever the case may be. And they just went. And back then, for I'm just speaking for them, not everybody else, but what I saw work for them, they connected with God. They had got into the church, and that was they pretty much like going to what you call it, AA or whatever those type,
Alcohol Anonymous.
all those types of things like that. I don't remember them going to drug counsel, none of that. They went straight to the church. And I just saw how, even though we had, like, they lived fine or whatever, but life got so much better for them. I just remember seeing, and now I can look back at it and call it blessings, but I literally saw just so much shit coming in the good for them once they turned their lives around. Yep. So that's what worked for them. Some people may need therapy. Some people may need to go AA. Some people may have to go to rehab. And guys, there's so much stuff out there. There's so much help and support out there. There's some things they have it to now, especially after COVID, where you don't even have to leave your house for sessions anymore. You
Yeah,
can do stuff
teletherapy.
Zoom and
Yep.
teletherapy and all that stuff like that. But yeah, for sure. What that whole trauma stuff and the trauma bonding, guys, like, definitely, somebody's gonna have to kick it. Somebody's have to kick. You have to be around people that aren't in that same situation as you to help you get out of it, especially if you're deep and if you know you're not strong enough to fight that demon, to fight the battle with that addiction. You have to surround yourself around people that are not.
Okay. Listen what he said, y'all. SeVen again. He speaks some real knowledge. Always, always, always. Um. So that ties into treating these underlying issues, aiding in recovery.
Yeah.
It all kind of ties into what you
Mm-hmm.
said. So, yeah, like you said, therapy. Go to those support group meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Get prescription medication if you have to, especially if you have mental disorder.
And I'll say this too, Sophie Talkers, when you're experimenting, because that's how a lot of this all starts. When it's no longer fun, or when it's becoming where it's becoming a problem in your life, and you got a problem, go get that help.
Go get help.
Go get help. Everybody has their thing. And now, like, say, let's talk about marijuana's legal thing and
Yeah,
stuff
I was
like
gonna
that,
say that
stuff like
too.
that. Everybody has a little glass of wine. Whatever works for you works for you. There's some clean cut people. There's people that have prescriptions, and they abuse them or whatever.
Oh, that too. That is true. That is true.
But what I'm
That
saying
is
is,
true.
when you realize that something has gotten out of control of your life and you're not the person, if you're able to sit back and be like, I'm not the person that I used to be, or you don't like who you are when you are high, or how you act when you're high, take note of that. Pay attention to that. And I think that's how a lot of people go down a dark road of addiction, because they're not paying attention to who they're becoming. And you have to pay attention, because once something's starting to take over you, you can have food addiction, gambling addiction, drug addiction, alcohol, porn, whatever, food, whatever, any type of addiction. Once you see that it's starting to take a toll on you and it's becoming a priority or number one thing, that's when you definitely should
Seek the help.
Seek the help.
Seek the help. I like that. I like that. I like that. Oh, I like that. I like that. And talk to your doctors too.
Talk to your
Talk to your
doctors.
doctors too. They always ask about mental health usually. They could always give referral to specialists.
Yep.
The role of stigma in substance abuse. We're going to talk about how society contributes to shame and silence surrounding addiction, making it harder for individuals to seek help. That is true.
Yeah.
It's true, because addiction's looked at as a sign of weakness, right? What else they look at as addiction? You have problems.
Mm-hmm.
How could you do that? They shame you.
Mm-hmm.
They shame and shun you.
That's why a lot of those people suffer in silence like
There
that
you go. There you go.
because society.
Society. I tell you what I tell y'all the first episode or the first introduction of Sofa Talk, knowing us or they debuted of Sofa Talk. Fuck
Mm-hmm.
society. I told y'all that. Fuck
Mm-hmm.
society.
And I'm
Fuck
going to say this
society.
too.
Fuck
We're
society.
also not knocking people that choose to do drugs.
Thank you.
If that's your thing and you feel that you're fine and this we're not beating anybody down because of what they choose to do. We're just talking about our experiences and
Yes.
what has been for us and the people around us and outcomes and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not knocking anybody of what choices they choose to make.
Mm-hmm.
We're just speaking our facts, our
Yes.
personal facts and how we feel and what it's done for us or what it has done to the people that are around us.
Yeah, we love.
I don't want any of you guys that are listening to our podcast think that we're beating you down, because there's probably somebody on here right now that's listening that might feel
Mm-hmm.
ashamed. Don't feel
Mm-hmm.
ashamed. Don't feel ashamed about who
Mm-hmm.
you are. But if you know that it's a problem
That's
and
right.
it has taken over your life and you have so much full potential and there's a brighter future for you, don't get stuck in this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't allow a drug destroy your
Yes.
life,
Yes.
because there's so
Yes.
much more to life. You can
Yes.
live such a wonderful sober life.
Yes.
You really
Thank you for
can.
that. Thank you so
Hmm.
much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Again, what I said, everybody, fuck society. That's what I'm in that on that
Fuck
note.
society.
I
Fuck what
said
people
fuck,
think.
fuck,
Fuck what they
yeah,
gotta say.
fuck everything. I'm gonna say it like that. Hate society.
Yeah.
Ways that we can combat the stigma and promote a culture of understanding and support. Like I said, we got to talk about it more.
Talk about it.
Talk about it more.
Talk about it.
Let's talk about it more. Um, Listen to podcasts. Listen to inspirational
Mm-hmm.
information. Read. Uh, Therapy,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. I think that will help to
Because
understand
some
it.
people don't feel comfortable. Some people don't have safe places.
Uh-huh.
Some people can't find a corner where they can kind of go in and regroup. So and that's another important thing. People want to feel safe because they're so vulnerable, especially people that have those heavy dark drug addictions or whatever. A
Mhm.
lot of them, it's, once again, might be a 50-50.
Uh-huh.
There's people that like to get high. There's some people that are doing it because this they're coping or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
But the people that want help and want to get out of it, you have to start somewhere. But definitely find that safe place. That's my thing. Always find a safe place, a person that that you could trust. Um, uh, Whatever beliefs you have, whatever type of spiritual connections,
Mhm.
any of that,
Mhm.
start with those things, because once you start to be vocal and speak, because I personally feel like a lot
That's
of people
true.
also feel alone also
Yes.
too in their addiction.
Yes.
Nobody doesn't understand them,
Yes.
and then once again they're also ashamed because of society,
Yes.
or everybody knows certain this shit's wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
knows what
yeah,
it
yeah,
does to
yeah,
you, what
yeah.
it could lead to.
Yeah,
Everybody
yes.
still
Yes.
has that.
We know, we
But as
know.
human beings, we're flesh. We're not
Yes.
perfect. We're going to feel how we feel, and we're going to
Yes.
go off of that. But to those that really want to help, those are the one of those important things that you got to find a safe space. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be able to communicate. You
And
have
and
to talk about it.
and I want to add this too. You also want to be the one to want the
You
change.
got to want it.
That's the number one thing in
Don't do
life.
it for nobody else but
But
yourself.
yourself. That's rule cardinal rule number one. It's up to you. You are the deciding factor. It's your life. It's yourself. You're the main person who has to want this to change, not for your loved one, not for you. That's where it starts off first. Is with you.
Because that's the big question. Like, have you heard people say before, like, I only got clean because of my kids. So, okay, that may have worked for you. Okay, so you got clean. Now your kid is 21 years old, out
Yes,
of your household.
yes,
Are you going to
yes,
relapse?
yes.
Are you going to go
Okay,
back to that because of that?
okay, good. See, see.
Do it for the right. So if that's your reasoning,
Mhm,
yes, but also have like the pure content behind it.
mhm,
That
mhm.
I looked at my kids and said that I don't want them to go through this. I don't
Yes,
want to put them through this.
yes,
I don't want them to see me this way.
yes.
And that was a part of my healing, because then it kind of comes off, well, if I didn't have kids, I'll still be out here fucking up.
That okay.
You know what
That's
I
true.
mean?
That's true. That's
So
true.
have some type of context behind that,
Yes,
you
yes.
know?
Also, too, I wanted to add on to when you were mentioning earlier. we internalize. So
Yes.
when when you're on a substance abuse, you're going to internalize your feelings and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to be able to be vocal, like you mentioned, about it
Mm-hmm.
because you're keeping everything to yourself. So again, be vocal. I'm going to keep on saying that. Be vocal.
Vocal. Speak.
Speak up. A culture society, we got to be more understanding. I think we should provide more information to people who may be going through,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, um, social media influencers, people that were once in substance abuse users that are in recovery. Let's
Mm-hmm.
have more people speak out about that to
Yep.
provide insight and hope for people.
Show people the beautiful outcome of it.
Yeah, yes, that's what we could
What
do.
life can be like.
Yep, for cultural understanding. I agree and support. I love that. Um, this is a good one. This is where it starts. Remember the statistics we read earlier with 12 to 17, how so many of those people were using those substances?
Mm-hmm.
Or the youth, I should say, not people, the youth were using those substances. Discuss the importance of prevention and early intervention by mentioning what strategies we think could be used for preventing substance abuse, including education, community programs, and early intervention methods. I'm sorry, y'all. So it's crazy you said that this is brought up, I should say, because I remember back in school, we had the DARE program, DARE,
Yeah, I
right?
remember
Remember
that.
that? Dare to keep kids off drugs. I don't see that anymore. I'm
I,
keeping it real.
I don't see it no
Okay,
more
you
either.
don't see
It's
it
not
anymore
promoted.
either. Hmm.
It's definitely not
It's not
promoted.
promoted. It's not promoted. It's not promoted. So we don't have that anymore. I asked my niece, she's a high schooler. I asked her if they do drug prevention, like classes or anything like that. She mentioned no.
Mm-mm.
Um, she,
There's no
she,
youth groups anymore.
no,
There's none of
there's
that stuff
nothing
that used to be
there
out there
like what we had.
coming up when we were coming up. That none of that stuff exists anymore.
Yeah.
None of it.
It,
And that's why there's so many younger children even starting out even more younger because
12, 12. Y'all heard those
those people that
numbers?
used to be out there in the community took you away because you didn't have that
Yeah.
time to wonder,
They
and
kept you busy and
it
living
kept
a
you
child.
busy and you
Yes,
got to
keep
be a
a
kid.
kid. Yep, living your childhood, having fun and
Those
everything.
programs save so many kids, and it's just so unfortunate that they no longer are out there or not presented to the people anymore. I know funding plays a lot in a
That's
lot of
right.
those
That's
things like
right.
that
That's
too.
right.
And I
Nonprofits.
was just speaking
Mm-hmm.
about my kids being in school, and my kids been having difficult times this school year, and I spoke out loud, and I said, "What is going on? What
Mm-hmm.
happened to after school programs?
Mm-hmm.
Like homework clubs, boys and girl clubs, study clubs, all
Mm-hmm.
those types
Mm-hmm.
of things." I know we still have wine saves, but all the people can't afford those types
Mm-hmm.
of things no
That's
more. But
true. That's
they used to
true.
have so much stuff, programs, classes, all these types of things. Those drugs,
Mm-hmm.
like the Dare
Yeah,
thing.
I used to like
What would
that.
you do?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
mean, I remember so many of
They
those things
promoted
coming up.
that
It was, oh my
for our
god.
time, us millennials. My niece.
Now these kids, they're out there fending for themselves because mom and dad's out there working a lot.
That too, that too.
Mm-hmm.
And also too, latchkey kids are the kids that have opportunities when because their parents are working, like you said, so they're going to be exposed to doing drugs with their friends,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're going to be, like you said, there's not childhood activities anymore to keep these
Mm-hmm.
kids busy.
They
So
still
those
got
are
sports and those little things like that. But once again, a lot of parents ain't putting those kids into those type of things anymore because one, they have to work, so they can't take them or be
yes,
there with them,
yes,
or it costs
financial.
or it costs us
There
too
you go. You took
much.
the words out my mouth.
All the great things that they had for us coming up is sad.
They're not.
It's not sad.
I personally don't think they're heavily promoting it the way they should. And my niece had mentioned that again, they don't do really drug prevention, but she mentioned in 10th grade they learned about the different drugs and the side effects or the effects of the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Then she mentioned for an alcohol lesson, um, they tried on different goggles as if they were under the influence of alcohol. I like that. So
Mm.
that's a little bit of prevention, a little bit. I like that. And then she also mentioned uh, with the marijuana lesson, they tried goggles as if they were high. So the effect of being high.
Okay.
So I thought that was good that they did that with her school system. Um, and she experienced these goggles while walking and driving. Okay, they drove the golf carts. Okay, that's cute. So to give them the experience, I remember too back in high school during my senior year during prom time, we had the sheriff department come out to do a presentation on the effects of drinking and driving on prom night. And we saw some
Mm.
graphic images of car accidents that led to people dying. as a
Mm-hmm.
result on prom night of drinking and driving. I like that they did that. I don't know if they still do that, but I still remember it to this day. That kind of put
I
fear in
don't.
my heart.
I don't
Did you
think
they didn't do it for you?
so.
You don't think they do that anymore? I
Mm-mm.
remember seeing that. Like
And
I vividly
remember, they
remember.
would park the cars at our high school, the crash cars,
Oh
and from like drinking and driving, they
yes.
had that. And then was it prom night or it was during graduation time? I think it might have
Uh-huh.
been prom night or
We did.
something.
We had a
They
prom
had
night.
like safe and
Yes.
sane and
Yes.
all those
All
types of things like that. Man,
we got to get.
so much. We got to get
We
back to
got to
that,
get back to
man.
it. We got to get back to it, y'all.
We
We
got to
have
protect
to.
the future.
Yep, they're our future. These kids are our future, and they're getting the stuff they shouldn't be getting into. Um, and again, there's was that Narcotics Anonymous,
Mm-hmm.
Alcoholics Anonymous. There's programs out there, support groups to help people to
Mm-hmm.
aid them into uh getting recovery
Yep.
as a strategy for recovery
But
and education also.
there is a lot of, I will say that there is a lot of stuff out there for people that are trying to go into recovery.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different classes, so many different programs. There's a lot. I will say that they may not have a lot of stuff set in stone um for the children right now, but I will say there
For
is a
adults.
lot of stuff out there for the adults to
Okay.
get the proper help. But once again, you got to want it.
Exactly. And you got to want the change.
You gotta want the
Starts with you
change.
first, as we said. Remember
And
that.
a lot of that stuff is free.
Oh, okay.
A lot of
See,
it's free.
okay.
Hmm.
Or maybe insurance could probably
Or
pay for it too.
sponsors, and
Medical
there's so much stuff,
insurance.
guys. There's so much stuff. There is. Really is.
Yes. So I have a question. I'm gonna test everybody's brain here. I would love to hear y'all responses so bad. I want to ask y'all something so freaking bad. I'm gonna ask it now. Um, leave a comment wherever you're listening. We have a voicemail feature on our website. If you want to leave a voicemail there, feel free. If you don't like typing, leave a voicemail there. We're waiting to hear. Here's a good question. Say we have a person and they are on a substance, they have a substance, they abuse substances, and there was a death in the family. We'll say a parent died, and their siblings. Does that sibling get that inheritance money or anything left behind because they have a substance abuse disorder? That question is a hard question.
Hmm.
Should, that I want to know. I want to know what y'all think. So let me make sure if I didn't say this clearly. There is siblings. One sibling has
Addiction.
addiction. Yep, abuses substances. All right. There is a death in the family. There are assets. There's inheritance and all this other stuff. Does that person that is on the drugs or substances need to be entitled to whatever inheritance is for him or her?
Mm, that's a good question.
That's a tough question because if you give them the money,
If
they might blow it up.
if so,
Uh, but then
I
they're
would,
also
if I was in a situation like that and I knew one of my kids had, I couldn't get them clean. They've been in and out of
mm-hmm.
programs. I've done everything I could do, and I'm on my way out. Um, I would definitely make sure that there was somebody to make sure I would have it set where they would be taken care of. So if it was
Uh-huh.
something, it would certain situations like that because they are entitled. They're your child, especially if you don't
Is
disown them.
exactly.
But I would want somebody to do it and give them this at this time, or they can get this for if it's for housing or something. It would have to
Oh.
be like set up
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and those types of things. Like say like I had a friend that had got what is it called? Was it inheritance or something
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
And every quarter or every something like that, or she could only pull for it if it was for school, or she could pull from
Oh.
it if it was like surgery, or she needed to get a new vehicle, or something
Uh-huh.
happened
Uh-huh.
like that, but not all of it
At one
just
time, one
one
lump sum.
time.
It was like
Yeah,
installments.
it was a trust fund but it was set up like that. Yeah, so
Oh.
if and I can't speak for
This
everybody
happens,
else,
y'all. This is real.
but if I had a
Listen.
child
This
that I
happens.
knew
Was
that
on
I loved dearly,
yes.
they would, yes, but they wouldn't be able to. It would have to be it would be set up a certain way because just think somebody that has addiction like that, and you
Uh-huh.
leave them say $1 million.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's where it's all going to go to drugs,
Woo!
and then they're not going to have nothing to show for it. And then can you imagine, sit or your mother or father
Mm.
sitting back and be like, your mom or your dad worked all those years
Mhm.
for that,
Mhm. Mhm.
and this is what you go to do. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Could
Mhm.
you imagine
Mhm.
how your parent could
Mhm.
feel? One of the
Mhm.
parents would
Mhm.
feel.
Mhm.
So if just speaking for myself, I can't speak for nobody else. But regardless of I'm gonna love my child regardless. I have children, so
Exactly.
if
Exactly.
on my
I would too.
I would have it set up that don't give it to them
Mhm.
that the whole big, but have it set up where
Mhm.
they wouldn't go without. Because
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
there's some people that choose to be home. There's some people that choose to be on the streets and
Mhm.
all that stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
But they can always go home to get this. They can always go home to get that.
Yes.
Or once they're clean and completed a program and been clean for this amount of time,
Mhm.
they get this amount. Like, but I would have something set up like that. I don't think a
So,
lot of people think like that, but that's how I would do it for
oh,
my child.
and I'm glad we're highlighting this because this happens. This happens.
Yep.
This is common than we think.
Oh
Or
yeah,
than we
I've
know.
heard some
It's very
stories.
it's very common. So I'm glad we're bringing this up for
Mm-hmm.
to shed light on this to the sofa talkers or listeners out there because it does happen. So you're saying more so managed accounts
Managed
or
accounts.
yeah,
So be with somebody over top of it to take care of
show
that.
receipt. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I can dig it. I
Mm-hmm.
can dig it. um, okay, we're about done, y'all. We're just gonna wrap it up. We're gonna give hope and resilience now. I remember SeVen mentioned his parents. They recovered. They're doing
Mm-hmm.
fabulous. They're doing wonderful. They're still
Clean.
they're clean. Very many years later. Many years later,
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was a story. I worked with a lady um, over 10 years ago at one of my many jobs, and she would mention religion a lot, and she would mention religion a lot, God a lot, and then my coworker and I found out that she was once, I think, on crack. I believe
Mm-hmm.
she was once on crack.
Mm-hmm.
And then my coworker that heard that said, "Aster, you didn't know?" I said, "No, I didn't know that." She's like, "Whenever people talk about religion a lot,
Mm-hmm.
reference God a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and very strong about that, they
Mm-hmm.
usually battle an addiction."
Mm-hmm.
So
And
I
that's
thought
what's
that
helping
was
them get
interesting to get
through.
through.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so many years clean. I think she had a ring. She was really proud of showing us the
Mm-hmm.
ring or something like that, and just being clean and sober. She, like I said, you can't judge people because she didn't look like a
Nope.
typical quote unquote beautiful woman, crackhead,
Mm-hmm.
nice shape, everything. Didn't look like one. Beautiful woman. That's why we can never judge people because we don't know what's behind the scenes or what people went through in their past.
Mm-hmm.
But so do what you got to do to, like you said, to recover, to cope
Mm-hmm.
right way.
The right
What
way.
works for you,
What works
you
for
wanting
you.
to change, you being happy. Also, she was vocal. I like how
Mm-hmm.
she was open to us about
Mm-hmm.
it. Some people hide that, but she was proud of her sobriety. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you could educate us, along the way. So be proud of it. Speak about it.
Yep.
Speak about it.
My mom always used to say, every saint has a past, every sinner has a future.
Okay.
Always remember
Checkmate.
that. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you might be going through now, just because you might be battling some shit right now,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
could be mental health, drug addiction,
Mm-hmm.
alcoholism, sex, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
gambling, whatever your addiction is, there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
Just because it may not be going through and things are feel like the world is crumbling on you
Yes.
right now,
Yes.
this is not the end.
Yes.
And you guys have to
Yes.
believe that. You gotta
Yes.
want it though. You
You have
gotta
to want
want
it.
it.
Yep. Like we've been
Because if you
saying.
don't want it, you're gonna be stuck. You will be you
And you'll be
continue to
stuck in it, right?
you'll be stuck in it. You won't come out of it.
Yep. Yep. Just know y'all can do it. Y'all can
Y'all
put
can
anything
do
y'all
it.
put your minds to do.
Fight
You
for
have to
the
want
fight.
it. Yes.
Fight for the
You
fight.
can do it. You can
Because
do it.
you people, even though some of you guys that are maybe addicts that may be listening or whatever, y'all are still good people. Y'all are
Mm-hmm.
still human
Mm-hmm.
beings. Y'all are still someone else's
And y'all still
child.
have feelings.
Y'all are still someone's parents.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all still are great.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all still have a purpose.
Mm-hmm. And we know it's not easy.
Mm-mm.
Anything in life,
Anything in
life is
life.
not in general isn't easy. We know
Mm-mm.
it's
Life is
not
hard.
easy. It's hard.
So we
So
understand it.
yes, y'all just hang in there. Y'all can get
Hang
through it. If that's
in.
what y'all
Hang in
want.
there.
Y'all will get through it. Y'all will
For
get through
sure.
it. This was such a good topic. Such a good topic. Thank y'all so much for listening with us.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for following us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Tell the people who you are,
Follow us.
to follow us.
Follow us.
Tell the people who you know, your friends, family, whoever, co-workers. Let them know about us.
Yep.
We're on all the platforms. We have our own website.
Mm-hmm.
Check us out. Give us a try. You can share it, share our posters. You can
Reposts.
repost, do whatever you like. Message us,
Yep.
email us.
We're
We are
available.
here. If there's
Shoot,
any
I check. I
topics that
check.
you want to talk about, touch,
Mm-hmm.
let us
Let us
know.
know.
If there's anything that you want us to work on as listeners, let
Mm-hmm.
us know. We are
Yes.
here.
We'll take the feedback. We'll
Absolutely.
take the feedback. We're still learning.
We're still
We're still
learning.
learning. Um, thank y'all again for listening. We have our own website now. You can go to sofatalk.com, SOFATAWK.com. Thank you for listening to our episode, Faces of Addiction. Are you facing a dilemma or issue and you need advice from SeVen and I? Feel free to write to the Dear Sofa Talk letter at sofatalk@gmail.com. That's SOFATAWK@gmail.com. And we can see how we can help you. Our next episode titled Family Ain't Family No More. That's going to be
Ooh,
good.
this will
That's
be a
going to
good
be
one.
good.
This will be a good
Good.
one.
Woo wee. Will air on either Saturday, November 15th, the 22nd, or the 29th. Mm. Please subscribe, like, follow, share, comment, or leave a review wherever you're listening. We are available on multiple podcast directories. Remember, the talk will have you talking on the sofa. Goodbye. Until next time.